Hello and welcome to all who are joining us. My name is Sarah and I'm the owner of Swooft, a dog walking and pet care company on the far northwest side of Chicago. I'm joined here today with Sean and Matthew from Prairie Pet Care. They're a well-established pet care company that serves more of the far northwest suburbs, and they have they've really just been a friend to us in the industry over the years. I know that we've referred clients back and forth. And they have a very, similar in many ways business model, similar values. So we're joined by them as well today. And then I also have with us Chris, who is one of our managers at Swooft, and she's also one of the first people that we've been able to bring back following the initial shelter in place in Illinois. So we're really here today to talk a little bit about the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the pet care industry, on pet families, and also hopefully share some insights for especially those, pet parents who might be sort of still kind of figuring out their comfort level with resuming services or even starting maybe dog walking services for the first time. So we're happy to have also then our moderator for this panel discussion. Diane Baren is an HR professional and consultant. You can find links to both of these dog walking companies as well as more information about Diane in the comments of the video. So without further ado, Diane, I'll turn it over to you to get us started.
To get us started, can each of you tell us about your business? Can you tell us why you got started and anything else you'd like us to know? Let's start with Prairie Pet.
Okay, sure. I'll start. I'm Sean with Prairie Path, and we actually service. I know it might be far northwest to you, Sarah, but Park Ridge isn't too far northwest of the city. City people. We service the western suburbs, Park Ridge, which is kind of northwest, and far northwest suburbs, and then down in Nashville, Tennessee, too. So we've grown quite a bit. I'd say that back in 2012, I seriously gave this business opportunity. I gave it some good consideration because I thought it was something I could get passionate about. I think I've always had an entrepreneurial type of spirit. And I always felt the desire to get into some sort of business, but never could feel myself kind of fully putting both my feet in. And when the idea of pet care and what's better than spending time with pets and being able to spend time outside, I just really got excited about the idea. And as I looked into it more, I saw that there was a real lack of professionalism in the industry, and I had been working with a business degree in business for about a decade, and I just thought that I could bring that to this industry, and kind of got me excited to get going. And so we opened in Wheaton in 2013, and we've opened 4 more locations since then in order: Nashville, Crystal Lake, Park Ridge, and most recently Geneva. And so before the pandemic, we had well over 60 employees. It's a little less now, but doing services of about, I think, roughly 1,000 services a week or something like that. So much less at the current time.
Well, I'm so glad to learn about your business and so glad to be here with you guys. Let's hear from Swooft. Tell us about how you got started.
Sure. So, similar to Sean, I feel like I've always kind of had that entrepreneurial spirit, and I always knew that I wanted to, have a business of some kind at one day, and I just never really found it until I was actually working in a job that I loved. I was an IT recruiter. I was working in Deerfield. It was the first job that I really enjoyed. I was so good at it, and everything was good, except that I lived in Portage Park and I needed a dog walker in order to make that job work. And at the time, there was one, what I would call, like, I don't want to say legitimate, but like there was one actual company, like not just a person with a card, but an actual company established in the area. And they were okay, but I kind of found the same thing that Sean did, which there was just a general lack of, first of all, availability. There was only the one company in the whole area, and then professionalism. And I thought, well, gosh, I can't be the only person who's thinking like, I live in Chicago, I should have tons of choices here. So, so I wrote a business plan and I talked to my manager and let him know that I was working on this, and it would, you know, sink or swim, and we'd see what happened. And thankfully, 5.5 years later, we did not sink. We had a really great first 5 years, and I've been really fortunate to just have really, really great team members all along the way. I hired 2 people, and we were 6 months in before I was even able to really go into the business full time myself. So it's always been our team that made it all happen. So we only serve Northwest Chicago, so we don't have multiple locations, satellite locations. So we are specifically Northwest Chicago. Our boundaries are Belmont up to about Dempster Avenue, and then Pulaski over to Cumberland. So we kind of service that square that is the far northwest neighborhoods, and then the immediately surrounding suburbs. So Park Ridge, Niles, Morton Grove, that area.
I love hearing about this stuff. That's great. I'm glad to be here. All right. I know I already said that. All right. So you've both been in business for many years now. But, you know, when people are looking for a dog walking company at this point in time, there's probably several available in any given region. So what makes your company stand out compared to the competitors in your region? Swooft, let's hear from you first.
Well, I guess I'll take that one. We are CPR trained, and we do go through training process throughout our beginning of our employment, which is very useful, especially when you have your pets at home. You can use it at home, which I definitely used, which I think that separates us.
Right. Very good. All right. Let's hear from Prairie Path.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, so what separates us? Gosh, I mean, like what 3-4 years ago now, Sean, we switched from contractors to employees. Having employees in the company is such a big thing. I know Swooft, you guys had to do the same. But we really wanted to have a relationship with our walkers, not just, hey, you know, can you do this walk, but build an actual schedule, build a relationship, have their back, provide workman's comp. I think that in pandemic times, that's probably the biggest separator, is just that we can help our people in times where there's not much work to be given.
Right. Yeah.
And I would just say the other thing is, again, things that we mirror as far as our companies are aligned is just a software, something that holds us accountable and makes us, we can prove when we were there, we provide the pictures, but, you know, it's not just a paper pen system. You can actually see the work that we're doing, and we can point to it and they can see it. So
yeah, so I'm glad you brought up the point about having employees versus contractors. As an HR person, I'm interested in that as well. So Swooft, what's your perspective on that, having employees instead of contractors?
Well, it's a job. It's not just, you know, we build relationships with our clients. So it's not just, you know, we're going in and walking a dog. It's important to us, and it's a passion for us.
Yeah.
And I think, you know.
And I think what I would add to that, and it kind of goes back to the last question as well, I think the overall thing that both sets us apart, and also, you know, deciding to have W-2 versus contractors is, aside from the fact that it's the right thing to do, right? Like it kills me that we're essentially competing with other companies or individual people or whatever who are not doing that, because it's cheaper. It's way cheaper to not do that and just pay our staff as contractors, but it is just the right thing to do. But it really goes back to the professionalism, right? We're not here. This is not like our hobby. This is not just a fun thing. Like, of course, it's wonderful, and we all, I think, love our jobs. I speak for all of us and all of our staff, is that we love what we do, but we're also professionals. Like we're the person that you know, doesn't treat it as like a thing that we did in the midst of our day. Like this is what we're here for, is to give, you know, pet parents peace of mind. And in order to train your staff and have accountability, have them accountable to you, have the oversight and the systems in place that you need, they have to be employees.
Right, right. Very
And we
good.
get to have a company tomorrow when the IRS comes knocking on our door or anything like that.
Mhm,
Yes.
mhm. Yeah, sometimes I think about the difference when an employee goes on, when a more junior employee goes on and maybe they leave the company. A future employer sometimes looks at W-2 employment as more stable than contractor work, even if it was many hours a week over a period of time. It's good all around to have somebody be an employee, W-2 employee. All right, so let's see. Let's hear about what makes someone a great dog walker. And I'd like to start with Swooft.
Oh gosh. So it's been really interesting, I think, especially because I came out of being a recruiter, right? So like I was recruiting for very specific job titles and job descriptions and skill sets. And here it's like, what makes a good dog walker? I was like, I mean, someone who loves dogs, but then it evolved over the years, right? So it's someone who is stable. Like they do have a really stable job history. They're reliable. Their references are not just, oh yeah, they were good. Yeah, they were fine. Like we want the people who are the managers like, oh my God, we were so sad to lose them. They were the best. They were the one that motivated everybody and they never missed a day and they were always on time. Like we want the cream of the crop, the best. And so that's kind of who we look for. It also kind of hinted to just like so once we find those people, what makes them great, what makes our teams great for both of our companies. I think for us, I guess my my motivating value, I guess, is diversity. Like I know that it's a buzzword right now, especially in this era. I think it's often like a checkbox that companies try to tick off. But for me, I think diversity is our biggest strength. Like Chris is a great example. So, when people say, oh, you have a dog walking company, so like college kids, right? No, we have a couple of people who are, still in school, but, Chris came to us from a successful, stable career in high-end retail. So she had management experience. She had dealt with all different types of customers. And so I think whether it's someone's work background, racial diversity of kind of where they've lived and what kind of experiences they've brought, what experience with different animals, gender identity, all those different things, that's valuable. And sorry, I'm long-winded, but one last thing I want to mention, because I was thinking about this yesterday. So I'm not going to get political, but I do want to mention that in the political climate, I think it's important for people who are different, if anyway, whether it's the politics you disagree with someone on, or you look different from them, or you have a different experience, whatever, even though we're not talking about politics and stuff at work, I think it's valuable that our team is made up of people who are different, who at the end of the day are like, I love dogs, I love cats, I love this job, we're here for the same goal. I just think that's really valuable. So I think that's probably our biggest strength.
It brings common ground, it brings people together, in a special way. And let's hear from Prairie Path. What makes a great dog walker?
Right. Since Sarah said everything, I'll just jump on her back and write it out a little bit here. But I think, I would just say to that, Sarah, like people are comfortable at our companies, and we find many wonderful, kind-hearted walkers that come our way and fit that description. Like they're hardworking, they've got good backgrounds, but they love what they do, and it shows. Of course, we start with, the very first thing is like, you got to have a heart for pets. So people who really have experience there is great. I think on the opposite side of this, we hear people saying, well, it sounds like it would be fun. And that's where, all of our managers would talk about, it's like, no, it's really not. Like, I mean, you love and you pour out your heart and soul to these dogs and these cats and all the pets, but at the end of the day, it's a job, and you really have to respect it. And those are the people who really do well, who can manage their time, because it's quick. You know, we do 25-minute visits because, you know, 20 seems short, 30's like, you know, how do you fit 2 in an hour and still maintain your
Right.
route? So that's like our sweet spot, but you know, it's a juggling match, and so you've got to have other skills other than I can cuddle with a dog. And
Yeah.
those are the people that really do well.
It's you need a lot of energy and stamina, I think, right? In addition to the skills, you need to carry out a lot of different steps, a lot of different protocols, while also tending to customer service, right? And people skills. That's the way I perceive it, right?
I remember the first time jumping into a route and thinking, holy cow, like this is not what I thought it was. You know, I was just managing. I didn't jump in to be a walker. I jumped in to help Sean's launch a company, and when I helped cover a walker's route the first time, I said, wow, you guys are something else. I don't know.
It hits you hard.
Right.
Time management is very important.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Let's talk about COVID-19 because we haven't done that yet. So it hit a lot of small businesses very hard. What was it like for you? Let's start with Prairie Path, both in response to safety concerns and keeping the business going. What was that like for you, Sean and Matt?
Sure, you want to take that a little bit, Sean?
What's that?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll jump in a little bit.
So COVID was quite a surprise, which I think for everyone. You know, I don't want to isolate our business or industry, and you know, we certainly aren't the only ones dealing with things going on. But I'd have to say, when I got into this industry, I was thinking, you know, this is a pretty recession-resistant business, but it certainly isn't COVID resistant. And with so many people being at home, it's just not anything that, you know, we could have foresaw or really had any planning for. And again, I don't think we're alone in that. And so when it came, you know, this is where, you know, I just feel like grateful for, you know, the people that are involved and how great everyone is in this company, because, you know, we're in it a ways now. And although it's still very challenging, you know, we've kept a really positive attitude about sticking this thing out. And I think that the best companies, you know, again, where I feel like we've got a lot of alignment with Swooft, is that, you know, we're companies that are committed. We're committed to our clients. We're committed to this industry and business of being there for people because they need us. And so, you know, as this started off, we made sure that we continued to operate even during lockdown for those people who are essential workers, so that they, you know, were like, gosh, I need to go to the hospital. How's my dog going to get taken care of? And so we made sure that we, you know, continued to stay open and doing things. And we remain committed, as challenging as it is, and as much as, you know, you know, our revenues are significantly down. But safety concerns, Matt, do you want to take what, you know, kind of what we decided we would do there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I'm going to say anything that people don't already know or are already doing themselves, but, you know, washing hands, sanitizing, wearing masks in the home, meet and greets we've done, you know, outside in the front yard if people weren't ready or comfortable going there just yet. But if we are going in the home, you know, wearing our masks, and, you know, I guess all the way down to, you know, having discussions about using our provided leashes so that we're not, you know, doing the contactless thing. It becomes challenging. We're talking about pets and they jump and they, you know, the collar is probably the biggest thing. So, but I mean, we're taking all of the measures that everybody else is doing, and we haven't had any cases yet. And, you know, we've dealt with cases where clients have said that somebody is positive, in which case, you know, they've paused their walks and we patiently wait and say, no worries, you know, like take your time and let us know when we can come back. So that's pretty much protocol for us.
All right, let's hear from Swooft. What's it been like during COVID for you?
Yeah, I mean, very similar. I mean, in terms of the safety protocol, is the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like daily temp checks, like our staff they have to send their temperature to the manager every morning. So same kind of protocols that I think most, responsible small businesses are taking. I mean, the beginning of COVID and specifically the shelter in place, we furloughed all of our staff the day that the shelter in place was announced, essentially, because we knew that way they could get in first in line. We didn't know how bad it would be, but we knew this would be bad, right? So they were kind of first in line for being able to apply for unemployment benefits. Again, that goes back to the W-2 conversation. But as far as kind of riding out the last few months, I mean, today we're still only about 20% recovery in terms of comparison to what we were doing before. That's for number of walks per day, that's for the amount of staff that we've been able to bring back so far. But same thing that Sean and Matt were saying, like, I'm just thankful that we are not going anywhere. Swooft is going to make it through, just like I am confident Prairie Path is going to make it through this thing no matter how long it goes, because one of the big things early on that I was really kind of astounded by is like some of our customers are reaching out and volunteering, like, hey, I'm just going to pay for my walks. Like, well, we're not doing walks anymore. No, it's fine. I'm going to need a dog walker when all this is over, whenever that happens. And just the outpouring, I think, of support and recognizing that we're a small business and that they do need our service. And, to an extent, we're a part of their family. We show up at their house every day. So I think, just financially and even just the moral support of our customers, that helped get us through, certainly. We were fortunate to qualify for a PPP loan that helped, so there've been resources along the way, but it's been a roller coaster. The other thing too is, we'd interacted with Prairie Path in the past, but it was really meaningful to me that they reached out to me, a few months into the pandemic, and were like, hey, we're just reaching out to other pet care companies to see how you guys are doing. Like, there's some way that we can help each other. Is there something we can learn from each other? And I think, that's been really great, just to reconnect or connect in more meaningful ways with our, friends in the industry or just in small business in general.
So if you were going to talk, if for both companies, let's start with Swooft. If you have clients who are hesitant about starting walks now in the midst of COVID, what advice would you give them? What would you say to them?
I'm sure your dog is tired of looking at you and they want to get out and get a walk.
Give them a break.
Exactly. I want out. We all want out. So, and they want, they're into routines. So let's get them back into their routine with walks.
All right. What about Prairie Path? What do you say to people who are concerned about having dog walkers come in?
Gosh, I mean, I feel like I'm kind of speaking for myself personally here, but, yeah, I guess we're all in this together, and we want to help, we want to be there, and I think when our clients are ready, we're all taking the measures that are necessary for us to keep everybody safe and also look out for your pet, and know that our walkers all miss the ones that we haven't seen since the stay at home, and would just say, like, mental health for yourself and for your dog and for your pet is also very important. So if you haven't considered it, I just, say, invite your walker back every once in a while, and let us give you a break, and do the same for your dog as well.
All right, we've got one last question. During this really strange COVID time, what would the silver linings be for your company? Let's start with Prairie Path.
Yeah, well, this is something I feel like I touched on a little bit already, but certainly I've been blown away by the people within the company. Like, we've retained our managers in every location. If it weren't for the payroll protection program when we were down at our lowest, I don't know if that would have been possible. But we're back to about 40% right now. But just everyone's attitude and sticking and their commitment to the company has just made me feel, really good. And
Yeah.
You know, I guess I really didn't expect it. I thought it would have been unfair to expect it, but that everyone stuck in there has been really great. I think sort of something that I mentioned before too, that I know we're going to be sticking around through the end of this thing. You know, I know Swooft will be there. And my thoughts are that, you know, probably the best companies, we've been supported too by our clients who we're not even doing anything for. But I think that speaks to our companies and, you know, what type of service we provide and how valuable we are to people. But that in the end, you know, when things come back to, when people start going back to the offices, I mean, that's really what's going to make a huge difference is that, you know, we'll probably have less competitors at that point, less, you know, peers and things where, you know, probably the lasting companies will be good companies delivering great service. And certainly those are some of the things that I think about, you know, as we, you know, continue to make our way through this.
All right, let's hear from Swooft. What's the silver lining?
So this is going to be a little like, I don't know, advertisement, I guess, for Diane. Like, you've been the silver lining.
Thanks.
Honestly, I mean, so for people who don't know, so Diane has been an HR consultant for us and on our really, I would consider you to be like on our management team. And we had really just established that relationship maybe a month or two before COVID hit. And like, thank God, you know, because I had never dealt with having to furlough and deal with all the unemployment paperwork and just all that stuff. And then how to communicate things clearly and quickly and effectively and, you know, accurately to the staff, just all that stuff. You know, I could have figured it out. I could have researched it and got it done. But having, you know, you and our other managers, Lisa, our office manager, Chris, you know, like having the calm in the storm, you know, same thing Sean was saying of like our management team just held me together and held all of it together while we were figuring out our way, you know?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I think the same thing as like, I keep hearing people say, even just personally, like they're taking this time to kind of take stock of their lives, right? Like what's important, what things were they not making enough time for, what things were they overlooking or whatever. And so, you know, I think we're very much doing that for our businesses as well, right? So like, where can we improve? Where are we not being as efficient as we could be? Where could we offer better service in some way? So even just like housekeeping type things that we've been doing over the summer while we're slower has been certainly a silver lining. And then, yeah, like we've all kind of said, just, we've all loved our customers, the people, not just the pets, you know, we love them, we appreciate them, but I think it just went to a whole new level when we saw how, just like how sincerely and tangibly and truthfully they supported us through this.
A lot of them stepped up. It was awesome.
Yeah, good stuff. It's an opportunity to meet good people out there, right?
Yeah.
So I want to say thank you. That's it for tonight. Thanks, everybody. And best wishes to you all.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
All right, so you can find more information about Prairie Pet Care and about Swooft in the comments of this video. They're both available to help with any pet care needs you may have. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, well, appropriate with your dog barks.
Dog bark.
All
right, thanks everybody.
Bye everyone.